What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks, presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't signed up for it yet, just look at this beautiful website. Look at all the things we have. We have picks, we have dogs, we have experts, we have prop comparison tools, we have everything. You can literally look at RG projections over on Scores and Odds. Just go here and you can sort by whatever. Like we see that Fournier is projected for way less than his prop, and we go the other way. We see that Drew Holiday is projected for way over his prop. That's something I bet, but we'll get to that soon. I'm going to be showing you all my bets on today's show, and if you want them earlier, just sign up for Score. Go to scoresandodds.com/Discord. Get on in there, and I'm going to be dropping my props in throughout the day, every single day. I have all these in there today. Jordan Davis, aka Smartwater, on the show with me, drops them in there. How you doing there, Jordan?
I'm doing well today. This slate is kind of ugly, but I think we have a few. I think we have a few winners for the guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely have. I have what is this 10, 11 bets so far. Not in love with many of them, but there are a few really good ones here. But yeah, this is basically a 4-game slate. I mean, it's not going to be too long of a show. I've got some golf to play today, so I'm entirely fine with that. And I've got some other work. So yeah, we can just pretty much dive right on in. We're going to be going game by game. In the first game, we got Golden State going up against Orlando. We were talking about this one before the show. I really like Klay Thompson over 22.5 points. You talked me into him there. RG projections has him projected for what, 24?
Just about.
Yeah, just a little bit under 24. You can get over at Caesars at -105. You can get over at DK at -105. Solid overall bet. We look at his shot attempts, and I mean, no Curry now, which I can't remember if Curry's been out with for 1, 2, or 3 games, but in any case, Klay, yeah, I think it was just the last one. But Klay, 22 shot attempts, 24 shot attempts, 19, 24, 20, 23. Like the volume has been fantastic. The minutes are up there. Played 38 in the last game here, going up against Orlando, who's actually been a very good defensive team since the All-Star break, but really doesn't matter with Klay. He needs to do a ton in this offense here. 22.5 points. Just far too low for me.
Yeah, I mean, the shots are what I'm looking at there. Even when Curry was healthy, the shots were there. But now, I guess I should say the shots are there. But as you mentioned, the 38 minutes, that's a very, very encouraging sign. I believe the spread the last time I saw was sitting at about 7.5. I can kind of pull that up right here.
Yeah, it looks like 7.5.
7.5. So, we have a low total sitting between 214.5, 215.5. But Klay, I mean, you're looking at still 100-something points for that team, and he's going to be relied on heavily to score them. So I think anytime you're telling me that somebody's might have more shot attempts and points needed to score, especially somebody as good as a shooter as Klay, I'm in. And yeah. I mean, we have to touch on the odds. I mean, right now we're getting almost 50, about 50%, right? 51.5 or something. So I think that's great.
Yeah, anytime you get that's the thing. There's a big difference between +100, +105, or -105, -110, -115. Like, yeah, it makes a pretty big difference. That's why it's always important to line shop because. I mean, Klay, you can get at -105 some places. Over at Betfred, it's -115. Like, that's the nice part about what we do. We always drop in the website that we're betting it on the odds because line shopping is.
I know that we don't touch on it too often, but some sharp books have it way higher, right? So I would say that right now we're getting a big discount on it.
Yeah.
The only other person that I have in this game with a question mark, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts is Wendell Carter, 16.5. Hit this in 5 of 6, kind of just coming into his own. What are your thoughts there? I have a question mark for him, and I wanted to kind of see if you like it or not.
I mean, if you have, I like it at -110, -115 doesn't really offer a ton because I know it's at -115 over at DK, MGM, Caesars. Fox Bet has it at -110, which I generally don't do too much on there. Like I never know if they're going to give me $30 or $300 on a prop. So I always changes day to day. But if you're getting at -110, I don't mind that at all. I mean, Wendell Carter Jr. has been pretty solid overall recently. Yes, he's going to get some.
He's covered that in 5 of 6, and I mean, just including some massive games. I think last game he had 30, if I remember, something along those lines. Obviously shot very well, but yeah, I mean, you're kind of looking at somebody who is definitely consistently now kind of getting above that. We're thinking in a closer game with Golden State. So I don't know. Draymond, I mean, there's some things to consider there, but
yeah, well, I mean, Draymond's only playing like 20 minutes. They don't really need him. They're pretty much locked into the playoffs, like not the play-in game. So they don't use him a ton. I think he's played under 20 minutes in each of the last 3 games. I actually did I end up betting? Oh, I didn't put it down here. Draymond Green, that was another bet under 0.5 threes. It's sitting at minus 130. So what is that? 405.
yep, I see that.
Yeah. So that one offers some pretty solid overall value. No, that's not right. Whatever. It's sitting at minus 130 over on FanDuel. I hit it earlier on. It's now down to minus 135 over on DK. Wow. So people have been hitting it. So let's see.
I mean, I still see value. I see it closer to minus 180 is what I have more of the true line at. So
yeah. No, it's like he's only playing 20 minutes. Yes, he's had 3, 2, and 1 3-point attempts over the last 3 games. He's only had 1 that. So minus 135 is just kind of a bad line. So I highly suggest hitting it before it ends up moving. Like I said, FanDuel has already moved it 25 points, but you can still get it at MGM, Caesars, and DK all at minus 135. So I suggest that one. Hit that under 0.5 threes. It's just an easy bet. And if you really want to, I looked into his over on turnovers. Didn't end up betting it, but I think it's pretty solid.
It was 2.5. 2.5 with a lot of plus odds on the over, so I did consider it as well.
Yeah, plus 130. That's pretty solid there. Even in limited minutes, he's distributing. He's kind of the guy that runs the offense without Steph in there. And even when Steph's in there, they kind of run the offense through him. So don't mind that. Let's move on to the next game. We got Atlanta going up against New York. Big news in this one. Julius Randle is out. Obviously, the other guy's out, but that's a pretty big usage hole there. So there's a few good bets in this one. Alec Burks, one you got me on to, over 13.5 points. I was considering Barrett over on points. What do we have him projected for? Let's see, Barrett.
I don't think that's probably an awful one. They usually have him pretty high. His 26.5 I see right now is the current line.
Yeah, I think that offers a little bit of value on the over, getting at minus 106 over at FanDuel. I think that's not a bad bet there. I mean, even quickly over 12.5 points. I mean, he might get a little bit more run just because they're going to need a bit more. Wow. Yeah. MGM has quickly over 12.5 at minus 190 now. Earlier in the day, it was minus 150. You can still get it at 13.5 over at FanDuel, minus 110. Yeah, I'm going to add that.
DraftKings has it up to 14.5. So that line's kind of all over the place.
Over 3.5 points. Let's see. It's 110, 550, 1050. Yeah, I'm suggesting that one. I like that one. Let's see what else was there in this game. Atlanta over on the other side. Capella over 10.5 points. I think that's a pretty solid overall bet. He's been crushing it, if I remember correctly.
3 straight of very 17, 20, I think, in there. 3 straight, pretty easy wins for this prop. I bet this. It was a lot of juice on the under earlier today, and I really didn't get it. Our projections have, I think, closer to 12. But if the minutes are there, I mean, obviously he's been shooting a decently good percentage, but that's always, I mean, it's Capella. He dunks the ball, so his percentages should be pretty high.
Yeah, no, he's statistically or historically at 65, 70%. Kind of like DeAndre Jordan. He only takes very, very, very high efficiency shots, and he's pretty good even when it's contested. I know Mitch Robb is not a bad defender, but New York has not been the same defensive team they were earlier on in the season. No Randall in there is probably going to end up hurting that. They're going to need some more offense production, so quickly probably playing some more minutes. Other guys playing more minutes that need to do a little bit more on the offensive end, so Yeah, they should end up playing Capella even without Randall in there. They're not going to need him for 30 minutes, but they still might end up playing him 30 minutes. I mean, John Collins is pretty much out for season. 30, 27, 30, 28 minutes in the last four. So we can expect something similar here. I think it's a pretty solid overall bet. Is there anything else you like in this game?
I didn't. You can always consider, depending on how bullish you are on Burks, maybe like a points and assists. Burks actually is pretty consistent with assists. So I don't maybe hate something like points and assists, but just kind of depends on how much money you want to put on Alex Burks, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Moving on to the next game, we got Chicago going up against Milwaukee. Me and you like quite a few bets in here. You got me on Grayson Allen over 1.5 threes. It's sitting at minus 150. I still think that's some pretty solid overall value. I mean, Grayson Allen, not a guy that's going to play a ton of minutes, but when he's in there, he's going to shoot 3-2, 3-4, 3-2 in the last 6 games. Hit in every single one of those. Even though he's only playing anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, he's still going to shoot while he's in there. Has not had less than three-point attempts over any of the last 6 games. He's a solid overall three-point shooter. He's getting a little bit hot recently. Chicago, yes, Caruso's back, so that actually helps out their defense, but still 120.5 total here for Milwaukee. I think Grayson Allen is a great bet, even at minus 150 juice. And then the over on Holiday
Really
points.
fast, I do think the main reason why we like a lot of these guys, we have to say, is just with Middleton, right? I mean, Middleton not being there right now is the main reason why we like a lot of these. I mean, you're talking about how many shots does, that's what, a 21 point score every day sort of thing in Middleton. So
I mean, Middleton's what, a 30% usage guy? Not quite that much, probably 27.
He's probably sitting in the mid 20s, but I mean, you're talking about somebody who absolutely is the, I don't know, second. I think the second option in the offense there, behind Giannis, and that's so. I mean, you see Allen. Maybe Allen gets 2 extra 3-pointers because he's out. Well, even 1. I mean, all of that's just huge. So I know that minus 150 can be scary, and it's not. We don't love all of those, but I have that well into the minus 200s.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about the break-even point at minus 150. Like, it may seem like a lot, like, oh, he's got to hit that like 65% of the time. No, minus 150 is like a 60% hit rate to break even. So it's not nearly as high as you think. It's like 58, 60%, whatever it is to break even. So, like, I mean, minus 200 is 66.6%. Have to hit it 2 out of every 3 times. And I think Grayson Allen probably hitting this closer to minus 200 than he is minus 150. So I like the over on Grayson Allen. And then over on the other side, I took some random Vooch lines. Over 1.5 blocks / steals. I mean, Giannis is going to be driving to the rim. Drew is going to be driving to the rim a lot. Like, Vooch is in a prime spot to get over that. And you're getting at plus 150 odds over at Caesars. And then I don't know too much about this. But Vooch seemed to project for over 2.5 assists. In this
I looked
spot
at
here.
it. I don't think I pulled the trigger, but I saw it. It was ugly to look at.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't hit it in many games, but I don't know. This is kind of what my numbers are telling me to do. Just hit Vooch over 2.5. Hope for the best here. I mean, let's see what RG has him projected at. Vooch has him projected pretty much right at 2.5, and yeah, it's going to be a high-paced game. He's going to be dishing out the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, in this game, I have Holiday over 18.5 points, Holiday over 26.5 points and assists. I believe Meansy signed off on the Burks play and the Holiday points and assists, so he kind of got me on those two. I have Vooch over 9.5 rebounds. I think I paid a little bit of juice on that one, but
yeah, it's already moved to 10.5. So I was going to hit that and it moved, so I stayed away.
Okay, that makes me feel good. I paid a little more juice than I originally wanted to, but I still had it as decent value. And then I don't want to jinx myself because I have historically been awful at this, but I believe that I have pretty good value. I was pretty high on Caruso, and I had his PRA at 16.5 at basically even money earlier in the day, and I would be shocked if it's not at 18.5 with the Levine news.
It's at 17.5 right now on most sites with heavy juice on the over. FanDuel has moved it to 18.5. Yeah, no, I wish you could have gotten in on that at 16.5. That's a very solid overall line there. I mean, going to see an increase in usage. Without Levine, going to see an increase in minutes. So yeah, I really like that one. I wish I would have gotten it in
I
earlier.
believe Levine is still just questionable, but even that, if he's a little bit banged up or what, I like it even if he played, to be honest. So this is just kind of extra, but I'm sure that if that news becomes official and he does sit, that you'll see that line go to 18.5 on almost every book.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Um, let's see. Moving on to the last game on the slate, only a 4-game slate, so this is going to be a short show. We got the Clippers going up against Denver. I'm targeting bigs here. I got Zubac over 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. I got Zubac over 7.5 rebounds, and I got the Jokic over 47.5. Jokic has just been fantastic all season long. Numbers just a little bit too low. Game should be fairly close. Zubac is going to play a bunch of minutes in this one. I think they're going to need him going up against Jokic. I mean, he could get into foul trouble, but I mean, we see the games where he plays a decent amount of minutes 14, 15, 12, 9, 9, 9, 9, 12, 15. Like it's just been the last 2 games where he hasn't hit the over on these rebound numbers, and he's been hitting over 20 points a few of these games. So double digit points, not something I'm worried about. Double digit rebounds, also pretty decent bet there. I wonder what his odds are for double double. I didn't even look into that. I generally don't bet double double numbers. I just bet the 10 plus, and I mean it's pretty much just a parlay. Let's see. To go
So
to double doubles.
looking at just some of the games they've played this year, I just pulled it up. You're talking about one game he played. First game he played 27 minutes, 17 points, 11 rebounds. The next game he played 10 minutes, 2 points. And I'm not. It says four personal fouls in 10 minutes, and I believe looking at the date of this was when the whole I might not ever play a Clippers player again kind of started. I see 10
Yep.
minutes, so that's kind of during that. And then I see later on, only about 8 days later, they played again. He played 37 minutes, went for 32 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists in 37 minutes. So seems
Yeah.
like they if the coach decides that the starters get some run, that he historically this year has done very well against Joker.
Well, yeah, it wasn't the other night. He just did a full line shift at halftime.
I haven't been paying attention because you and I have, we try to talk each other off Clippers, but sometimes when the value's there, it can be, you know what I mean? We have to kind of put our biases to the side. But I just note that if you do bet on the Clippers, occasionally you're going to run into what you just called a line shift to where you expect Morris to play 32 and he plays 12. So you're just going to have to kind of live with that. That's kind of baked into the line though.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. But that's the only 3 bets I have in this game. Do you have anything else?
No, I mean those are the guys. I personally I kind of try to stay away from the Clippers. I don't have any bets that I bet, but I do have one that I have a question for the show and one that I am considering. What are your thoughts on over 11.5 points for Haaland?
For who?
Haaland, I think Bones.
Oh, Highland.
Oh man,
Bone Zone.
I typed it wrong and then I just So
Yeah. He's been
I'm not
very heavily involved recently. I mean, I think that game versus Philly, that's the game where he put up 21 points. But yeah, 17 plus and 4 of the last 5. His minutes have been pretty up and down, but overall, he's a big part of this offense. You said you got the line at 12.5.
It's 11.5 right now.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, minus 120 over at Caesars. What do we have him projected for? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I kind of just I waited on this. I wanted to get your opinion, bring it up on the show. We have it right there. I would have liked to have seen that to be higher. I think that's kind of part of the reason why I haven't fired yet. But I do think that there's potential value there.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's pretty solid. I mean, like you said, he's been hitting it a ton recently, hitting it in 5 of the last 6 and missed the other one by 1 by the hook. So yeah, I'm in for that. I mean, historically looking back, like the shot volume has been there. It's not like he's been shooting out of his mind. He's been shooting right around 50% over the last 6 games, and the shot volume between 8 and 14 shot attempts per game, getting to the free throw line 3 to 5 times a game. So yeah, I think that's a pretty solid overall bet. I like that one.
No wonder why he wasn't showing up. I had no idea what his real name was. Do you know what his real name is?
What's his real name?
It says, well, I would assume that this is the Nashawn Highland. That's why, but when you type in Bones, so he's actually at FanDuel under Nashawn Highland for minus 112 at 11.5 points.
Yeah, Nashawn Lee Bones Highland.
So
just great name.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Bones is. Who would who wouldn't go by Bones if you can, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Regardless, he has like 8 names, and I messed up the only one name that stays that people know of. But minus 112, I like it a lot better than minus 120. So over at FanDuel, minus 112, I think that becomes a much better bet.
Yeah. All right, Jordan. Well, I think that should pretty much do it for us. You got any last minute thoughts? Anything to plug here?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I think the picks have been. I think the overall SAO premium product for the price is just a no brainer. The records speak for itself, and I mean, man, there's people that give you one pick for $900 and they can't win to save their life, and you're getting some of the best people for just insane $50 a month, and you get 10, 15 picks a day. It's a no brainer.
Yeah, I mean, look at my record so far on the show. We've bet 150K and we're sitting at 11,000 in profit. So essentially 22 units this month, doing this 5 days a week. So just over 3 weeks. Yeah, that's averaging 8 units a week. If your unit's $50, that's $400 a week. If your unit's $10, that's $80 a week.
And what people don't understand is like the top bettors in the world are trying to profit 2 units maybe a week, sort of. I mean, like you're talking about 1 or 2 units a week. The absolute top guys are trying to profit.
Well, it's interesting because most of them are betting. Like I bet a decent amount. Like I'm not betting huge amounts because the sites won't let me get there. Like if you're betting props, you're going for like 4 or 5 units a week because you can't get down 10K per prop. Like
exactly,
people can get down for spreads and totals and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all about like player props. If you're not a big bettor, is what you should absolutely be spending almost all your time on.
That's the one thing that's kind of that I try. I'm trying to. I just hit it on FanDuel and it went to minus 120. So hopefully,
because you're a sharp guy, you always move that line.
No, there's a lot of sharp people out there that I think figure out the lines as well with us. But what's called? I think that's the one thing that needs to be talked about more. A lot of people on SA, not a lot of people, but some people wish we had more money lines, and I totally understand that. But if you are trying to build your bankroll, but even in general, if you're trying to make money, you should be looking for the most plus EV spots and player props until they limit you. I mean, even when they limit you, they're still extremely plus EV, but it just depends on. You should absolutely be taking advantage of player props when you can. There's just no bigger edge in betting. So although money lines and all of that can be fun, the edge is so much smaller. Those are extremely hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't bet money lines except for I do a lot of live betting, and that's where you can get a massive edge is when you're live betting and hitting money lines and spreads because they don't have the system and capability to actually get perfect lines. So you'll see 30 points in juice, 40 points in juice difference from site to site, and you can actually find arbitrage situations because like they just can't keep up, and there's so many variables that they don't input, and they input differently up between site and site, and then there's stale lines out there because sometimes they're slow to adjust. And yeah, live betting and props are how I've made pretty much all my game. Well, and boosts, of course. Boosts, you make so much money.
Yep.
But yeah. All right, Jordan. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. I think that Daniel fellow, Dean Shavelson, cleared 27 grand last night in DFS. You know, he had himself a pretty decent night last night, so he should be joining us tomorrow. But Jordan, thanks for joining us. We're out of here.